Ladies and gentlemen, before I speak to you about procrastination, before I speak about action, discipline, or courage, I want to speak about something deeper. I want to speak about potential. Because every human being in this room is carrying something invisible, something powerful, something unfinished. Not because you are incapable, but because life is loud. The world pulls your attention in 1,000 directions. Responsibilities pile up. Fear becomes sophisticated. Comfort becomes convincing. And slowly, without noticing, we begin to delay the very things that matter most. Not because we don't want them, but because starting feels dangerous. You see, procrastination rarely looks like doing nothing. It looks like planning. It looks like researching. It looks like waiting for the right timing. It looks like being responsible. And that is why it is so dangerous. Because procrastination does not attack your dreams openly. It puts them to sleep. We live in a world where we celebrate intention, we praise ambition, we applaud ideas. But history does not remember intention. History remembers movement. Every great change in human history began with someone who acted while still afraid, while still unsure, while still imperfect. And yet, most people spend their lives waiting for permission. Permission from circumstances, permission from confidence, permission from others. Today is not about pressure. It is about truth. The truth is this: you already know what you should start. There is something inside you that has been whispering for a long time. Now, this talk is not here to give you new information. It is here to remove old excuses. Because transformation does not begin with knowledge. It begins with decision. So as you listen today, don't ask yourself, is this interesting? Ask yourself something more important. Open quote, what am I delaying and why? Close quote. If you are honest with that question, this moment can change your life. Ladies and gentlemen, before we talk about success, before we talk about discipline, before we talk about achievement, we must talk about waiting. Because waiting feels harmless. Waiting feels polite. Waiting feels wise. Waiting feels responsible. We tell ourselves we are not delaying, we are preparing. But history is not written by those who waited for certainty. It is written by those who acted with doubt in their hands. How many of you are carrying something important inside you right now? Something you know you should start, but keep postponing? A project, a calling, a decision, a version of yourself. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are human. Because procrastination is not a time problem. It is a fear problem. And today, we talk about how to stop waiting and turn procrastination into action. Chapter 1, The Village That Waited. Before we talk about individuals, we must talk about communities. Because procrastination is not always personal. Sometimes it is shared. Imagine a place where everyone agrees something must change. Everyone sees the problem. Everyone talks about the problem. Meetings are organized. Opinions are exchanged. Hope is discussed like a strategy. But nothing moves. This is the most dangerous situation in life. Collective awareness without individual action. In many African cultures, wisdom is transmitted through stories. There is an old story about a village waiting for rain. Every morning, the villagers gathered under the baobab tree. They talked about the rain. They prayed for the rain. They argued about when it would come, but no one planted seeds. One day, an old woman stood up and said, open quote, rain does not visit empty fields. Close quote. The village waited, and hunger came. Not because rain never fell, but because action never came first. I once met a young man full of business ideas. Every year, his ideas became clearer. Every year, his explanations improved, but nothing ever existed except explanations. Ideas fed his ego, not his future. Hope without action is hunger in disguise. Chapter 2, Procrastination is not laziness. We are quick to judge ourselves. We call ourselves lazy, undisciplined, weak. But labeling yourself does not solve the problem. It deepens it. Because shame never creates movement. It creates hiding. If procrastination were just laziness, advice would be enough. But advice doesn't work. Which tells us something important. Procrastination is emotional. A student once told me, I don't start because if I fail, I'll know my limits. Not starting protected his identity. Open quote, procrastination is the fear of success in disguise. Close quote. You don't procrastinate because you don't care. You procrastinate because you care and fear the outcome. Chapter 3, The Lion You Imagine. Fear is subtle. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It says, be careful. Not now. Wait a little longer, and because it sounds reasonable, we obey it. There is an African saying, open quote, "The lion you fear most lives in your imagination." Close quote. Fear grows when you sit with it. It shrinks when you move. A woman delayed public speaking for years. Her first speech lasted 5 minutes. Afterwards, she said, "That's it? That was the monster?" Fear feeds on stillness. Movement starves it. Chapter 4. The Lie of Tomorrow. Tomorrow is not real. It is a concept, a story we tell ourselves. Tomorrow is where discipline lives, courage lives, change lives. But tomorrow never comes alone. It comes with excuses. Most gym memberships are not canceled in January. They are canceled quietly months later. People don't quit, they postpone forever. Dreams don't die from failure. They die from delay. Chapter 5. Autobiographical Story. Before I continue, I need to slow down. What I'm about to share is not theory. It's not a method. It's a mirror. There was a time in my life when I knew exactly what I needed to do and did none of it. I had ideas, plans, dreams written in notebooks. Every night I made a silent deal with myself. Open quote, tomorrow. Close quote. Tomorrow I will start. Tomorrow I will be disciplined. But tomorrow always betrayed me. From the outside, I looked fine. Inside, something was breaking. One evening alone, I asked myself a dangerous question. Open quote, do I trust myself? Close quote. The answer hurt. Because how do you trust someone who keeps breaking promises? That night, I understood. Procrastination is self-betrayal. So I chose one small action. No motivation, no inspiration. I did it badly, but I did it. For the first time in a long time, my actions matched my words. Confidence didn't appear. Self-respect did. Open quote, when the drumbeat changes, the dancer must change. Close quote. Action gave my life a new rhythm. Chapter 6. Action is a decision. We are taught to wait for alignment, but life rarely aligns before action. Hunters say, open quote, if you wait to feel brave, you will never leave the fire. Close quote. Courage appears after movement. Fear can ride in the car, but it cannot drive. Chapter 7. The Drumbeat Principle. We love big beginnings, but nature starts small. Rivers begin as drops. Storms begin as wind. Open quote. A dance begins with one beat. Close quote. A writer wrote one sentence per day. 1 year later, a book. Not talent. Consistency. Small actions create momentum. Momentum creates identity. Chapter 8. Perfectionism is fear. Perfectionism sounds intelligent, but it is fear wearing good language. Open quote. Perfectionism is fear pretending to be standards. Close quote. A potter once said, the perfect pot is the one that exists. Unfinished work helps no one. Chapter 9. Identity is built through action. Most people want new results without new habits, but identity changes through repetition. Open quote. The hand that works becomes strong. Close quote. You are not who you plan to be. You are who you practice being. Chapter 10. Time is not infinite. Time does not negotiate. Every delay is a silent decision. Open quote. One day, someday, becomes never. Close quote. This is not to scare you, it is to clarify you. Chapter 11. Discipline or regret. Life offers two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Open quote. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Jim Rohn. Close quote. Choose wisely. Chapter 12. Final call. Before we end, pause. Listen. What seed are you refusing to plant? Open quote. The best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time is now. Close quote. Rain does not visit empty fields. Start today. Start small. Start scared. Turn procrastination into action, and action into legacy. Autobiographical story. The day I stopped negotiating with myself. Let me tell you a personal story, not as a speaker, not as a coach, but as a human being who struggled with procrastination more than he ever admitted. There was a period in my life when I knew exactly what I needed to do, and did none of it. I had ideas, big ones, plans written in notebooks, dreams that sounded powerful when spoken out loud. But every night, I made a quiet deal with myself. Open quote, tomorrow. Close quote. Tomorrow I will start. Tomorrow I will be disciplined. Tomorrow I will become who I say I want to be. And tomorrow always betrayed me. From the outside, everything looked fine. But inside, something was breaking. Because the most painful thing wasn't failure. It was knowing I was capable of more and choosing comfort instead. The moment of truth. One evening, I was alone. No audience, no noise, just silence. And for the first time, I stopped asking myself, what do I want? And I asked a more dangerous question. Open quote, do I trust myself? Close quote. The answer hurt. Because how can you trust someone who keeps breaking promises? That night, I understood something important. Procrastination is not about laziness, it's about self-betrayal. Every delayed action was teaching me, you don't keep your word. And slowly, quietly, my confidence was dying. The smallest action. So I made a decision, not a big one. I didn't say, I will change my life. I said, I will stop lying to myself. I chose one small action, so small it felt almost ridiculous. No motivation, no inspiration, just commitment. And I did it, badly, imperfectly, without excitement. But something happened. For the first time in a long time, my actions and my words matched, and that changed how I saw myself. Identity shift. The next day, I did another small action. Not because I felt inspired, but because I had proof. Proof that I could trust myself again. I realized confidence is not a feeling, it's a memory. A memory of keeping your word. Action by action, promise by promise, I rebuilt my identity. Not as someone special, but as someone consistent. The African mirror. There is an African proverb that says, open quote, when the drumbeat changes, the dancer must change. Close quote. My life was asking me to change rhythm, to stop dancing to the music of comfort and start moving to the rhythm of responsibility. I didn't become fearless. I became honest. Honest about my excuses. Honest about my potential. Honest about the cost of waiting. What I learned. Here's what procrastination taught me. You don't need more motivation. You need fewer lies. You don't need to feel ready. You need to move while afraid. And most importantly, your future is listening to what you do today. Closing the story, that version of me, the one who waited, delayed, negotiated with himself, he's still there. But now when he whispers tomorrow, I answer, open quote, no. Today, close quote. Because action didn't just change my schedule, it changed my self-respect, and that changed my life. Before we end, I want you to slow down, not to clap, not to think about what comes next, but to reflect. Because inspiration fades quickly, but clarity can stay. You have heard stories today, you have heard metaphors, you have heard ideas, but the most important thing you heard today did not come from me. It came from inside you. That quiet voice that reacted when a certain sentence was spoken. That discomfort you felt when procrastination was described too accurately. That image of something unfinished that kept returning to your mind. That is not guilt, that is awareness. And awareness is a gift, because once you see clearly, you are responsible. Let me tell you something honest. You don't need to change everything. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You need one honest action. One action that proves to yourself that you are no longer negotiating with your future. Because the greatest damage procrastination causes is not missed opportunities. It is broken self-trust. And the greatest gift action gives you is not success. It is self-respect. One day, when your life is quieter, when the noise fades, when you look back, you will not ask, did I feel ready? You will ask, did I have the courage to begin? There is an African proverb that says, open quote, the path is made by walking, close quote, not by waiting, not by wishing, not by planning forever, by walking. So when you leave this room, do not leave inspired, leave decided. Decided to plant the seed, even if you don't see the rain yet. Decided to beat the drum, even if the rhythm feels uncertain. Decided to act, even if fear walks beside you. Because fear does not disappear when you wait. It disappears when you move. Turn procrastination into action. Turn action into habit. Turn habit into identity. And turn identity into a life you respect when no one is watching. Thank you.